right. Okay, now the clicker doesn't work, so I have to just come back to the computer to do this. No big deal. So this is me. Yes, I've been doing the developer advocacy for quite a long time in many different companies, and I code. Yeah, I'm a software engineer myself too, and currently I'm working at the Slack. But my talk's not gonna be too slacky because I'm gonna talk about my own experience here in previous companies. So yeah, I've been working in those companies, and I see my former teammates from everywhere, actually. That's pretty awesome. Many of you have worked with me in the same team, yeah. Or maybe it was a partnership, like, yeah, the many other companies I worked with, so. And yeah, so today I'm gonna talk about some docs. It's not about API docs, it's more like creative contents, like blogs and stuff. So I'm a writer. For whatever reason, I don't really consider myself a writer, but I do write a bunch of technical contents in those places. And some books, I don't write for books because I write JavaScript, things get outdated so quick, so I'm kind of hesitant to write in books, but I did do the technical editing for some books, and I think, yeah, the one of the authors is there too. So anyway, so they get discovered by developers. So when developers out there looking for some solutions, maybe they're building some software and something. They might be looking for API, some platform, frameworks, and tools. And how do they find them? And many times, we hear from colleagues, friends, or somebody on a Slack group, or it could be passively just discover something on Twitter or newsletters. And more likely, we are actively searching on Google. It doesn't have to be Google, but in some search everywhere. Could be in Stack Overflow. So it's cool. So let's say your developer find your product, develop a product, APIs and tools on some high traffic sites like TechCrunch or ProductCon. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, they find it, yeah, it sounds awesome. I might use it later. The thing is, you want to more like, yeah, it sounds awesome. I want to use it. So you have to encourage your developers by just providing something more, your devs feel like trying. It could be maybe really great use cases. So everybody knows what it is and how it uses it, what it's for. And easy to follow and step-by-step tutorial is always helpful. So, when to get your developers' hands dirty, you got to do workshops. That's a great way to get engagement. And hackathons. Yes, devs get their hands dirty in maybe in a few hours to a few nights. That's great. But my focus here is more like blog and tutorials. So it could be docs, like API docs, or more something visual, like diagrams, illustrations, and videos, like multimedia here. So, to provide any content, of course, you need something practical so people can actually understand what it is and know exactly how to use. So if you have a tutorials, let's say your product name or API name, Awesome API, whatever that is, Awesome API 101, a beginner guide, getting started. If you have a library, let's say Node.js library, you want to write about that too. Because many times you have APIs, let's say REST APIs, and you do provide libraries as well, but many times that's not discovered by devs because they only read the API documentation. They might not even know you have awesome libraries. So you got to write about that too. And if you're advocating like JS UI framework, yep, a to-do app. This is something like a quasi-standard, demo apps to create. So you got to write about too. And the tips and tricks and best practice always works. So this is an actual example I did at my previous company, Nexmo. So I wrote this article about two-factor authentication. But it's not about high-level article. It's about exactly like step-by-step tutorial how to add two-factor authentication to your app. Or in my former companies, I wrote this a best practice guide. I had to go quick because I have too many slides. And even better, like step 4, you want to make your docs and tutorials really creative. And it's something like, so I've done a lot of creative projects with myself and my teammates, and they are the actual example. And yeah, like I call Alexa from phones. I don't know if Sam's here, but he did this, and Lizzie's over there for like, gotta get them all, the Pokemon real-time mapping. So to get all those creative projects, many times when I was running my own team, I did brainstorming. I used to be working on design team too, so I kind of adopted this product designing way into the dev role too. So I did this brainstorming. It looks like just a bunch of post-it, but it actually helped us a lot to make creative stuff. So I even invited people who don't code. It doesn't matter, just get them in the room, get them craziest ideas possible. It doesn't have to be crazy. Practical is good. A lot of ideas. So I usually do in 2 parts. One part, just get ideas. I don't care if it's feasible or not, just get whatever ideas. And then in part 2, we can always categorize and sort them out and see if it's feasible or how you apply to our own products, APIs. If they're not using our own products or APIs, that's cool. Maybe we can keep it for a side because we can still write about it someday, but let's just focus. So we get a lot of ideas, and some project types are like purely fun, like a Pokemon IoT cat camera is something I actually did. And that was interesting because I eventually made it into a slide deck, and I started speaking about it in various JavaScript communities, and resulted I actually spoke about my cat and all over the world. That was kind of cool. It's funny, I'm not using cat photos in today's slide deck at all, except emoji. It's actually rare for me. And our targeting ecosystem is really important things, actually, just community. So it could be programming language, could be platform like mobile, frameworks, hardware, and it could be like Alexa or Watson. We can always combine your funkiest project with certain technology and community, so everybody loves to know about it. And this is something I've actually done using Twitter Firehorse to create this data visualization. And that was one of the popular projects I've done. A lot of people liked it. I get a lot of comments. And some people forked it and created it in different way, different nations. I've seen a lot. And another thing is like Internet of Things. This is like a one-on-one tutorial, but since the company was not actually selling Raspberry Pi or anything like that, so this was more like fun project side. And we got a lot of communities, like raspberrypi.org that tweeted about us, and that was really driving a lot of traffic to the site. And I did at Nexmo, worked with IBM guys, and I did this project into. And this one, instead of just writing up, because it's quite complicated setup, I created a screencast. So using multimedia is always helpful for people, because not everybody likes to read. So your docs and contents doesn't have to be just all written. You can always create videos. And this is my newest project at Slack. So I try to publish just soon, maybe this week or next week or so. So I'm using this TJ bot I got given by IBM Watson team. This little robot's reading your Slack messages and analyzing emotion. So in a message there I say, oh, I'm so pissed off. So Watson analyzing I'm upset, so I get red light. It's a fun little project. Okay, so I've been doing all the fun stuff. Then one time I got in trouble. This was an actual argument. And somebody from marketing, it's not a few companies ago. Pokemon is not what we try to, attract big companies, enterprise. It doesn't make us money. So I was like, no. We're not trying to advocate Pokemon here at all, of course. We try to get, give developers ideas. I mean, of course, developers out there are not stupid. If they see something like this, like a plotting where the Pikachu is, in location. If you're working at some companies like a cab, like Lyft, or pizza delivery, or whatever, they get the ideas. Yeah, okay, we can track our delivery track within the same method. So this is exactly what we try to advocate, not Pikachu. So of course it works, And the thing is, Notsumi Senpai, in case you don't know, that's like anime meme. So in this case, Senpai is really not Senpai, it's developers. So especially if you're working at companies like startups that no one knows about you or the product, this is important because no matter how great your content is, people don't know about you. That's sad. So yeah, it's like, how do we get attention from people? No one knows us. So this is a strategy I got, piggybacking of big players. We actually did it quite well. So partner with other companies. Of course, you can always work with your excellent I meant the biz dev person in the company to just get partnership. Oh, of course, here, look, everybody here is like a developer, make friends, and just cross-post each other. So friendship is always great, you know? Or you can just apply to be an author. So somewhere like Smashing Magazines and Scotch.io, actually I got my author by myself just by applying. Or if it's not above it's really applicable for you, you can always pay, you know, sponsorship. You know, those big players are happy to take your money to publish it for you, like Smashing Magazines does that, to Plus, Scotch, they all do that. So just do it. So again, this is the same screenshot I showed you earlier. And this is something I did with Twitter. And I actually didn't work at Twitter. So that time I worked at a company called PubNub, and no one knew about us. So, you know, we asked the developer peeps on Twitter, and please post this for me, for us. So this is really relevant to their APIs, because we were using their Firehorse, and using that time PubNub API to make this interesting stuff. You know, it's visualizing. You know, so this was more like a pseudo emotion analysis, not like Watson, like smarter like Watson. But it really attracted the D3 community. Because that time, or still now, you know, JavaScript D3 community is quite huge. So they're really happy to see this. And this US mapping here is actually done with JSON. Actually, it's a GeoJSON, and it worked with D3. So not just the Twitter community, we got D3 communities, you know, all get attention. So it worked out quite well. And another thing, this was something I created a video because I wanted to show how to use a microcontroller, and I want to talk a little bit about physics too. So I figured maybe making just video tutorials better than just writing up. And Arduino loved that, so they featured us. So that hand is my hands. They featured my stuff on their blog site. And the cool thing is, when we are working with bigger players or companies or open source project that has a huge communities, when they tweet about us, they get more artists, more faves. There's something they can't really achieve our own. Like let's say, last company, like a Nextmo. I don't know how many followers we got, but quite small, to be honest, like a few thousand or so. We can't get like 41 faves. Well, they actually got a bigger number because they posted a few times. So it was really a great result for us, and I get a lot of traffic, interaction. More people actually start following our own Twitter accounts too. And yeah, friendship is magic. So this is actually my own article on developer, because I had a friend, Andreas, he was working over at that time, and we met actually through a W3C, because I used to be a part of the standard body too. So we're kind of chatting about the project we can do. So although the company that time I was working, it's providing proprietary technologies, and that's nothing to deal with a web standard, but of course I can make it work with a web standard. Then the Opera is happy to have the article listed there, so I did. And even better, friendship is magic. In Russian, I wish I know how to say in Russian. So great things about this is this article is available on GitHub. So it's open source, and under Creative Commons license means anybody can just jump on and modify, edit, and translate. So that's the best part. So that way we can reach more people globally, globally. So in this case, in Russia. And I myself speak Japanese, speak and write Japanese fluently. I mean, it's my native language, actually. So why not taking advantage of it? So I had this Polymer blog before, but I translated by myself and published in Japanese media. So we reached out more people in Japan, especially in Japan. They don't read any articles in English unless they're really comfortable with. But the number of people who speak English there is really low. So then you need really different strategy to go into their market. So in this case, I totally take advantage of that. And go social, obviously. I already mentioned about Twitter. So this talk is not about social media, so I'm not going to go over too much. But obviously, when you're tweeting about your blog, the company blog, you want to use card. Because in a bigger picture, gets more attention. So yeah, it's so meta. Just don't forget to use a meta tag. And one and above is for Twitter card, and the bottom is Facebook and Open Graph data. You probably need to add a few more lines to get to Google and everything too. So SEO, something, yeah, it sounds sketchy and everything, but you gotta care about SEO a lot. So, and the social media the same way. And of course, you have to focus on developer-focused social media. I think Grace was talking about it, and Jen and Anil are talking about Glitch. So you can always look for some people, developers out there using your product, wondering about stuff on, Stack Overflow. You can always answer the question or link to your articles. And Google Plus might not be so popular here in the US, but in some nations, it's actually popular, and you can always check out their communities, like Node.js communities. So there's so many different communities out there, so you can always post your stuff. And Reddit and Hacker News, and then a lot of newsletters take submissions too. And if you're, in relevant groups in Slack, of course, just share your articles, share tutorials, content. And not just the articles and content, more like code samples and demo. Of course, use CodePen for the front-end stuff. Use Glitch, so you can host the whole thing. That's really great. I've tried this, and it's really have the growing community out there, so it's really quite interesting. And if we have some hardware stuff, you can use something like Hacks.io. They had a really great interface, great communities as well. So just take advantage of using those guys. So yeah, I think I'm running out of time, and this is my actual last slide. So this is a summary of what I've just talked about. And sorry I go really quick, like fast, because initially when I created my talk, I had like 35 minutes talk or so I had to really shorten, so I go quick. So thank you so much, and I'm gonna put my slide and the slideshare later. So, and this is Creative Commons too. Thank you so much.